Welcome, everyone, to Hammer and Talon News, your only source for the Grand Crusades going forward. Welcome, everyone. This is our first episode in which we are going to go over not just the ground battles that we've been showing here at Scales of War, not just the planetary battles and the massive strategic and tactical battles that go on there, but we have officially launched our Crusades, the great intergalactic interstellar war combat. I am your host. I am Paul Toon. I am represented by Lieutenant Oscar today. This little guy over the corner. We'll probably get some animations for him later. And yes, so with that, this is going to be a little different. So there are no players currently with me doing any of the recording or stuff. It's just me as the War Master, basically going through what orders they sent me, resolving any issues that they came up with, getting over any obstacles, completing any tasks, and then going from there. So this is going to be a once-a-month thing where we're going to have these turns and I'm going to do these battle reports. And hopefully, as things progress, they will not only affect the campaign, but you guys, who are the viewers, you'll be able to see a lot of the effects of what happens as well. There'll be a lot of rolls where you guys will be rolling to try and determine certain factors. And yeah. So this is, like I said, it's going to work a little different because we're not basing this off of the original Fantasy Flight game. Although that is used in a lot of ways as the basis for what we're working with, using D100 system and everything, for example. We have completely designed our own separate rules to make this quick and easy to deal with. And I'm also just realizing now I forgot to open one document, so I need to do that real quick. Let's see where the heck okay, there it is. So while I am getting this part set up, I'll go over a bit about how these turns are going to work. So effectively, the major generals, who are the players who have the various armies that we have on the maps here. For example, the Army of the Valkyrie, which is my own personal army. We have Ursa Majoris, which is the sort of everybody army. So this comes from Ivanova's original forces. So you guys were involved in the Reclamation of Mald. And that's kind of why you guys are starting there. So it's kind of like the extra NPC fleet that's going on. We also have the Twisted Heart, which is controlled by Valis, made up of some of the more esoteric groups in the Imperial armies right now. However, that is going to definitely change as things progress. We also have Kalos Gambit, which is an army that has been created by Rasp. That is his. A lot of Abbey focused regiments in this group. And if you saw anything with Season 2 and the Reclamation of Mald, you'll know a lot about the basis of that. We also have Haywire's Odyssey, made by, well, Haywire, obviously. They are a group of not really exclusionary of a lot of Xenos, but they are extremely, they demand religion as one of the major factors in there. And last but certainly not least, we have the Allfather's Ashguard. This is run by Mr. Nunn, and is, well, the core is an Einherjari army. However, there is a lot of additional forces in there as well. And yes. So turns are going to work a little bit different with this. So effectively, each of the armies are going to have a movement phase to begin with. So they can move up to a number of tiles, which in this case tile isn't a tile, it's actually a star system. And the fleets, based on the compositioners, are able to make a number of jumps based on that. And that counts as one action. Then they are able to perform other actions when they're in, whether they're in a subsector, for example, here in the Serpent's Calda. If someone, for example, is, well, actually, let's see, Kalos Gambit is stationed at Kyra right now. So if they would like to resolve certain actions either on the planet of Kyra or in the subsector, they are able to. However, they cannot do anything over here in Osketere, because that is in Tel Ifrans. Haywire's Odyssey would be able to do stuff, but they cannot. So, good. It's finally put up there. Let's see here. I need to do this real quick. GM stuff, don't worry about it. Okay. So, with this, I think best thing to do is to just kind of get started and show what is going on with here. And mostly because I am most familiar with it, so I'm able to get things done a lot faster. We're going to start with the Army of the Valkyrie. So this is a military force made up of basically a whole bunch of different regiments from the Valkyrie subsector. We have the Skitari of the Dameron. We have Lycia's the White Spears, Sisters of Battle. We also have the Inclusions from Muse, so it's over here. We have the Arrowhead from San Felipe, a mechanized infantry unit. We also have some support from the Ophelian Pass as an aeronautica unit. And more will be showing up as time progresses. We also have a contingent of the Domus Lignus currently with us. So, to begin with, I have two actions that I can take. And the first action I want to do is to move my army into Ventacosta. So let me pull up. Wrong sheet for that. Never said we were professionals, so that's my excuse. Let's see. Do we have... okay, there it is. Okay. So, the Valkyrie army is currently being transported and escorted by a fleet, a Deep Void Patrol fleet named Wrathful Wings. And because of that, they're able to move at a speed of 4. So they are able to make 4 jumps as part of one action. And we'll see as other fleets go about, they have different speeds based on the kinds of ships that are involved in the fleet composition. Because my fleet is primarily made up of light cruisers and escorts, they're able to jump pretty far and pretty fast and pretty quick. Other fleets, especially those with a lot of battleships, for example, they tend to be slower, so they have to have a slower amount of jumps that they can take. But to begin with, I am sending the Valkyrie 2 jumps to Ventacosta. So first to Shalnatoth, and second jump to Ventacosta. Now, there is a little bit of a hiccup here, and that is a contested patrol. So with these, this means that there are pirates in the areas, there are raids that are occurring, there's some physical barriers that are making this difficult to traverse, which means I have to make a roll to get past it. And in this particular case, the first one we're going to do is a Navigate Warp. Actually, no, not for this. It would be Navigate Stellar. So for my regiment, I have a Navigate Stellar base of 30 and plus 20 bonus. That comes from being Deep Void Patrol. So I am rolling for a 50 is my target. And that is a 91. Okay, great start to this. 4 degrees of failure. Yeah, great start to the military campaign. Okay, it is not doubles, so that is not a problem. So my fleet is going to lose a fair amount of structure from that. So let's see. I'm going to roll 1d20. 13 structure. Okay. So the structure is effectively health. It works a lot along the lines of vehicles when it comes to. Let me zoom in here real quick. Works a lot like vehicles when it comes to the base game. So structure is effectively your HP, armor is your resistance, and then we have special rules for damage, fatigue, and several other things. So with that, that brings them to 350, 337. Oh. 37. Okay. So, for their second action, they are here at Viticosta. Oh. That should not have been there. What did I have placed as their second orders? Alright, so they are going to begin planetary bombardments because Viticosta, as you can tell by the key, is a chaos-occupied world. There's not a lot of details about what the heck is going on this particular world, by design. However, we definitely know that it is occupied by chaos forces, and we need to deal with that. So, a planetary bombardment. I need to check my rules for that. Right. So this is going to be a... Where'd we go here? Alright. This is not going to be a damage roll. So damage is going to be when two fleets engage each other. So in this particular case, it is going to be a... What rolls do we have here? Awareness, command. I think command would be pretty good for this starting out. Operate Aeronautica would also be good if I was deploying... Actually, you know what? We'll deploy scramblers and fighters. So that is going to be a 30. D100. 30. Exactly. Okay. Actually, wait. Nope, 32. So that is a fail, but barely. So there's going to be a little damage taken on the planet's surface. But it is not going to be as much as I had hoped for in this particular case. And with that, we have our third action, which... So, all the fleets get 2 actions. However, there is a third aspect to this, which is going at the same time. And that is effectively the fleets of the void and the regiments are 2 separate aspects. So, regimental deployments as well as actions by regiments on planets are counted as a separate phase and a separate part. So, different term. In this case, the Valkyrie are going to deploy their mechanized. So, the San Felipe 36 Mechanized Arrowhead Regiment, under Colonel Alejandro Seguin, are going to attempt a landing. And, oh boy. Well, don't get any bonuses from the Aeronautica. Let's see if there's anything else I could do to try and improve the planetary landings. No, because they still got... They do have still some planetary defenses. So... -1 penalty for every 5 structure. And they've still got the full 25. So that's a -5. So... Yeah, boy. 39. Alright, so there's definitely going to be some hits taken. against the regiment. However, that is still a successful landing. Let's see here. Yep. Okay, so I don't actually have a way to mark it. I'll just have to write it down in a separate document real quick. Microsoft Word. Ignore that. Move that over here. Okay. Alright, so heads 36 on a 25. Okay. But with that, let's see here. We can change this to an Imperial Assault. So I'm going to go in here. And let's see, war status. Ah, there we go. Okay. Enter. All right. The fight has begun for Ventacosta. Now, we are going to move in the Ursa Majoris. So, Ursa Majoris, led by Ivanova. We're going to get down here. Yep. All right, Suzanne Ivanova. They have successfully completed the reclamation of Mald. All regiments have been refit, resupplied, and they are ready to rejoin the fight. Now, Ursa Majoris is a line of battle fleet. That means they're going to be very good if they ever end up in a fight with another fleet. However, this also makes them pretty slow. They can only make 2 jumps as part of one action. So, they need to get to the front line as fast as possible. So, 1 jump to Relfern. 1 to Theodora. That is 1 action. Second action, Shal Natoth. And then into Ventacosta. And for them, once again, we are doing a Navigate Stellar. That is a 30. Not great. Yep. 1D100. And that is a 20. They're able to pass through the contested patrols and take no damage and suffer no issues. Now, Ursa Majoris is in the same system as the Army of the Walkyrie. They are in Ventacosta. However, they are unable to perform any additional actions this turn, so they can't help with any planetary bombardments. And given the fact that there are still some defenses on the world, I think, let me check if we had any details about what they can do. You know what? I think they will go ahead and deploy one of their forces as well. In this case, let's have them deploy the Pershing 540 Siege Infantry under Colonel Joshua Browning. So they are going to make a contested landing. Roll 1D100, and they're going for a 25. Right? Let me double check their... let's see. Their operating aeronautica is also at a 30. All right. They also rolled a 32. Oof. All right. So the Pershings and the Arrowheads both took damage during their landings, but it wasn't too bad, so they're still able to at least get on the surface. 32 on 5. Okay. Now then, let's move over on to Twisted Heart. Alright, so what were the orders Valis has given for us? Actually, I should say, what orders have Colonel Vidi? Well, no longer Colonel. She has now actually been upgraded to Major General. Sort of. Kind of. In a manner of speaking. No one officially gave her the title, but she's still acting as a Major General, so... Because until this point, nobody realized that they were out there. So, first order is to jump from Arakorpa into Quorum. So they are going to make one jump. And let us see. They have... The Twisted Heart Army's main fleet is a carrier fleet. So they have Void Fighters. So this is going to be very good for them. Especially when it comes to landings and such. They get bonuses to that. Let's see. That was also... Whoop, I forgot. That is also a Psychic Storm. So they will have to make a Navigate Warp to try and successfully get through this without suffering damage or issues. Navigate Warp is a 30. $53. Well, it is not doubles. Doubles are a major problem if you roll during that. It kind of has things blow up. But with that, that's not too bad in the way of damage. Let's see. So they suffer a grand total of 1 point of damage to their structure. Oh no, the terror. I should be editing, not commenting, but the... 799. Alright, but they're able to successfully pass through. Now, Quorum has something very special going on. It has an event. They're also... yeah, they have an event. They are also currently strengthening defenses. So basically that means that if they're able to succeed in completing that, they're able to increase the amount of defenses they have on the world. So, what we will do first is try to resolve this event. And in this case, what do I have this event? I forgot to actually post these to everyone, what the events were before. Where did I put... Okay, here's the events. Alright, Quorum's event is currently a... Okay, so as part of their Strengthening Defenses event, they are also making an attempt to establish effectively an orbital perimeter. They're deploying satellites and the like, trying to set up extra defenses along with the surface defenses that they are strengthening. So, the Twisted Heart have come in, and they need to interrupt this event. For this case, I feel like an Operate Aeronautica or Operate Void Ships would be very appropriate, and I think Aeronautica would be best for the fighter group. So, with a target of 50, how well are they going to do? 1d100. 16! That is very good. Event is resolved. They are not able to get their defenses, and this is also going to give them penalties to their strengthening defenses roll, which will come later in. Actually, you know what? We'll go ahead and resolve this particular one right now. So, they are strengthening defenses, 1d100, 41. That is actually not good enough. They do not get enough extra ticks to try and resolve that clock. So, the Twisted Heart coming in pretty strong, sweeping in, taking out the satellites around the system, and they are now decided to hover menacingly as they gather more intelligence about the world and try to figure out what the heck is going on. Also, at this point, I will say that contact has been made between Twisted Heart and Ursa Majoris, and there's a lot of Rooks and some Moldine of the 303, as well as some Coloradicus and a few others who are groaning and grumbling in abject terror, knowing, oh no, Vinny is back. we thought she was gone. What happened? All right. So let us move on now to Callow's Gambit and Haywire's Odyssey. Now, unfortunately, I do not have any particular orders for either of them right now. So, as part of this, I'm just going to have them basically do the same thing. Both of them are trying to get to Western right now. So, we'll start with Haywire's Odyssey. So they need to make 2 jumps. And let's see, where is the Odyssey fleet? There it is. Alright, so Haywire's Odyssey as a blockade force. This is particularly good. If you want to try and make the routes harder to get to, you can have a blockade force block off some of these routes, which is probably what's happening, especially in some of these deeper systems. So, first thing they need to do is make the jump to Bright Ring. And in Bright Ring, that is a contested route right there. So they're going to need to make a Navigate Stellar at 30. 7. Yeah, no problem. They open fire, they blast whatever's on that route. Alright. Moving on then. They're going to make a second jump. And they have a speed of 2, so they are able to get this in 1 turn. However, that is a warp psychic storm. So their Navigate Warp is at a 30 as well. So let's see how well they do with that. Natural 1. Well, that's lucky. Yeah, the warp storm suddenly clears up there. There's a safe route to get to Damoon and reinforce it. All right, let's change some of these tags going on here. Well then, the power of faith of Haywire's Odyssey is able to cut through the psychic storm and develop and create a safe route between Bright Ring and Western. So, good job! Now, for their second action, this is another Chaos world. So, I think it would only make sense to start a planetary bombardment and see what they are able to take care of. Now, I also need to check real quick for the blockade fleet what their special abilities is, because all of these fleets do have special abilities that can take effect. Fortunately, nothing that any of the 3 we've seen so far takes effect just yet. Let's see. Blockade force is Planetary Siege. I thought so. Here it is. Planetary Siege. Automatically deal 25 structure damage to enemy planetary defense systems every turn your fleet is in the system. No roll required except for additional damage. If you remain in the same system for more than 1 turn, can create 1 blockaded route from the system you're stationed at. This is lifted the moment your fleet is destroyed or leaves the system. So, automatically deals 25 damage to Western. That means planetary landings are safe now as well. Well, Haywire's Odyssey doing work today. Alright. I do not have any orders for any planetary landings, so I don't know what regiments would necessarily want to go here. However, the way is cleared for any to come up next time. All right. And now let us go with Callow's Gambit. So, scrolling back up. Here we go. So, Wrath's Force are part of an invasion fleet. And they have PDF countermeasures. Ooh, this is going to be real good. But first they need to jump to Western. And they need 3 is their speed. So they're able to jump to Oscari, 1. Lucrion, 2. And Brightring, 3. But that contested route is still there. There's still some danger. So that's going to be a Navigate Stellar, 30. $33. So they are taking a little bit of damage. Maximum damage. Unlike the Twisted Heart, they took maximum damage instead of minimum damage for that roll. So in this particular case, they take 10 points of damage. So they went from 650 structure to 640. So they're still good. Still have full armor at this point. All right. Second action, I'm going to say, is they jump in and are now supporting. Whoop. So they're basically taking a second action to move to Western. They're going to be supporting Haywire's Odyssey in their invasion. And let's check PDF countermeasures. Planetary landings are made at a +20. So when planetary landings occur on this world, they are going to have an even better advantage. There's going to be nothing stopping them. They're going to be easier to get on there. So, Western is going to be quite the fight next turn. Yeah, all right. So, last but certainly not least, we have the All-Father's Ashguard. And if we scroll up to them, Congress Sigmund Bregson. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention. Let's see. The Callow's Gambit is actually led by Chapter Master Abram Callow. And the Odyssey is Major General Havoc Reacher, also known as Haywire, is the leader of them. Yeah. So, Bergson, what were the orders for the Ashguard? Right, so the first thing they wanted to do is there's a open rebellion happening over here in a world called, and a system called Hykarl. The rebellion has, at this point, mostly been crushed. This was part of our, one of the seasons we didn't record earlier. The main brunt has been crushed and dealt with, and effectively it's just mopping up the last remnants of the resistance at the North Pole. However, there's still resistance there. And while the... I need to double check it out. Yeah. While the Lord Militant, Grace of Winter, was the one who was leading the original charge here, they have since been redeployed into other subsectors, trying to kind of support other parts of the Indominus Crusade. And much of the armies that have were in that initial assault have been redeployed to other systems. I know the Armageddon Steel Legion were involved. They have been redeployed for sure. There were also a number of other forces, including the Durkaln, which were redeployed, which was a squat regiment. There's still a few of the Einherjari, though, so comrades in arms, let's go pick them up. So, their first thing they're going to do is jump to Hykarl and quickly try to resolve any issues that are there. So, they have a speed of 3. I think the best for them would be jump to Hathdagoth, then to Hykarl. Now, they are also going to deploy at least one regiment here. However, as mostly for story reasons, as well as for basically hand-waving, the planet is effectively taken at this point. It's no contest for the landing, so they're not going to have to make a check for that. However, we have a special notice. All right, the Onyx Guard, which is a legion that was created by our community member Cloud. He has requested deployment on this world to effectively try to end this rebellion as quick as possible. And for that, well, let us give the Onyx Guard. Well, we'll get to that right now, actually. And let's see, fleet actions, deployments. Here we go. So, planetary warfare. So, effectively, each regiment that you have deployed on a world is able to perform one action. It could be an assault. It could be kind of trying to help the local populace, aid with strengthening defenses. So you do not necessarily need to deploy them only on hostile worlds. You can deploy regiments on friendly worlds and use them as a basis if you got intel that an enemy fleet might be jumping into the system and deploying and trying to attack. Maybe you want to help the populace. Maybe you want to try and ensure that, hey, they're kind of on the edge of potentially doing a rebellion. Let's have a bit of a show of force or do something to try and encourage them to, yeah, don't do that. But in this case, it's going to be a straight-up attack. So, I actually need to look up the baseline of the Onyx Guard. Cloud recently reworked them based on all of our, good grief, the ridiculous amount of rules that we have. Let's see. They are... Oh, yeah, this makes sense. Overstrength Drop Troopers and Naval Armsman Detachment. Yeah, the Onyx Guard of Lucrian. They're also part of the Ash Guard, so they are part of this help. Alright then, so with that, they are Drop Troopers. So their damage, we have special statistics, stat lines for this. Damage is 1d100, 30 armor, wounds 150, minus 4 supply loss. And let's see, they do have sappers, so plus 20 damage in a siege. I don't think this qualifies as a siege at this point. This is much more of a just forward advancement and getting out the last pocket. So, you know what? I'll count it, actually, because you're trying to get them into the last areas. You've got them already hemmed in. It's mostly just a question of crushing the last bit of the rebellion. So, I will give them a plus 20 to their damage roll. So, 1d100, I'll be 1d100 plus 20. Let's see how well they do. Oh, now they roll low. Good grief. As a 7, for a total points of 27. That being said, however, yeah, the rebellion had only 25 points left. So, congratulations! The rebellion has been formally crushed. Hooray! I also do need to make a roll to see if the Onyx Guard takes any damage. Let's see here. That so if I pull up, this would be effectively at this point all that's left is militia. So they only have 1d50 for their damage. So 1d50. 43. Now that sounds really bad, but we have to take into account armor. So this is going to be 43, and they are drop troops, so minus 30, which means they only take 13 points of damage. Meaning that they move from... Actually, they are over strength. So they get plus 20 wounds, but additional supply loss. So the Onyx Guard effectively then started out at 170 for their wounds. So they are now down to... I'm a mathematician. I still don't do any math in my head. So 157. So they're still over the normal strength of drop troopers. But the rebellion is crushed. And next turn, I will let you know what is on that world. Special secret. Let's see. Was there anything else that the Ashguard was going to take care of this turn? Go with the original plan. Yep. Priority was stamping out the rebellion first. So, yeah. Next turn, they will be able to reboard the fleet. The Onyx Guard will be able to come back. And then the Ash Guard will be able to proceed forward. Alright. Now then, we have a couple of other details that I need to roll for now. Let's see, there are a couple of extra events, for example. Let's see. Divos has an event. So I'm going to give them a roll to see how that goes. Yep. 41. Yes, no particular progress on that clock. Let's see. Mafel Malip. 80. Oh, they don't get anything done this month. Let's see. Quorum also has an event. However, that event was stalled this turn thanks to the Twisted Heart, so nothing else to mention there. Let's see. Are there any other places with events that I'm missing? Ally World. Oh, that. Adversity. So, yep. Let's see here. Then we also have resources. The blue are the events. All right, so we have Quorum, which is going to continue their strengthening defenses. $85. They are not able to strengthen any of their defenses further. Let's see. We have Agaron Bay here, which is an Orc world. Oh, let's see how they do. $45. That doesn't really give them any major progress. Just one tick, no big deal. Let's see, any other events? Yes. Fallen Crest has an event. This is... Pray to the Emperor that this one fails, so that it will help the Ashguard if they go that way. That is a 2. Okay. Yeah. Good to know. Good to know. I need to make a note of that real quick. Oh, oops. Yep. Close. Close that. There we go. Okay. I'll just say, I'm not going to reveal what exactly is happening on that world right now because there's intelligence is spotty and there hasn't been a lot of communication set up, especially in the occupied sectors. But Krudger, you might want to tread carefully around Falling Crest. There's a rumor of something happening over there. Not fun. Not good. All right. But I believe with that, everything has been resolved for this turn. We have all of our fleets moved, actions taken, some landings happening. Let's see if I can... Yeah, war status, Imperial Assault. Let's see. And then Quorum and Wacer don't have any troops landed on them yet. But as you can see, Demood does. And you also notice that the... if it's... will show up there. The cross sword symbol, that is effectively where our current campaign is. So if you want to know where the grand schemes everything is, there. Demood did get special treatment, and Western was jumped over, primarily because Demood was, as far as anyone was aware, a loyalist world at the last minute, and they got a distress call. So it was imperative to try and save allies and try to, maintain Imperial holds rather than backfill, and try to, slowly creep your way there. So, yeah. Wacer, though, that's going to be... I see that being crushed very effectively and very quickly next turn. Alright. But with that, I would like to thank everyone for watching this first edition of Hammer and Talon News here at Scales of War. The next turn is going to be in, let's see, 3 weeks effectively? Yeah. So, March 1st, also known, if I can pull it up right here, yes, we're so professional. Yes, next turn will be at, the Imperial date, currently, 3085009 M42. For roleplay reasons, this is the start date for any events going forward. Next one is going to be at 3162 009 M42. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this inaugural episode. I will try to be a little more organized and professional next time. But with that, I would like to thank everyone for watching, and may the scales be ever tipped in your favor.